morning, my lovelies. I just wanted to just quickly come back because I posted, it was quite late last night when I posted the tutorial of me knocking up this, excuse me, this book. But it's really, this is what I always say, making mistakes are a good thing, because I made this mistake. Now, you may all know this already. It's possible. I haven't crafted, I've only started back crafting the last 3 months, and I took 3 years out of crafting. So I will apologise if this is something that you all already know, but I didn't know this. And because of this happy mistake I made yesterday, I now understand how this works, the principles of this book and how it works. Now, if I remember, I'll go and get it, it's next door, I keep doing that, don't I? But the swirly frames, the twirly swirly frames, which are these ones, they came with the memory books. I'm pretty sure they did. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure, if I remember, it's quite a long time ago now, that they did come out with the memory books. And I was sitting there wondering to myself, sorry if you can hear my son, I was sitting there wondering to myself, when I had first originally done the other book, the spell book, why I couldn't fit the large swirly twirly frame on the book, because I thought, oh, that's a bit strange, I'm sure that came with the set. So because I made that mistake yesterday, now I realise that it probably wasn't a mistake and that possibly, maybe that's how it was originally supposed to be. I'm not sure. Now, I did watch Jodie's tutorial. I have linked it in the other video. I'm going to link it again in this video, because I obviously followed Jodie's tutorial when I made the spell book, and she did, I double checked it, she did score down. Let me just take those bits off. I've just done one because I really want you to see this. I'm definitely going to come back and do a tutorial and make this much clearer. I'm going to do the two books side by side to make this much clearer. But she did. She tells you to score your lines. So when you make your front and your back cover, where that little notch is, can you see the little notch? Just there. She does tell you to score down there, down that line, and score and fold on that line, which is why when we cut the pages, you see where we're cutting our inside pages, which is what I had originally done. Can you see that we've cut down on that perforated line, right? So what I did mistakenly yesterday was, see where, so we've got our outer edge die. You know, you might already know this, but I'm just thinking there's lots of new people as well that might not, and they might have got these books and are thinking, what do we do? And I couldn't find another one where it was made like this. So what you put your die in, right? So you put your die in and you die cut it. So you get, where this extension, you get a ridge, you get an indentation, right? Can you see that indentation? Just there. You can just see that indentation, right? Now, if you don't score down that line, if you fold down that line for your front and your back covers, and when you're cutting your pages, you cut down on that line, not by the perforated edge, but where this finishes. It's really there. It's clear as crystal. You can see it. Okay, if you fold down on that line, just there along that edge, that will give you, and your pages, so you cut down on that line as well. That is giving you an extra 5mm where you can get all your swirly twirly frames on. You see, they now fit on, because doing it the other way, where you come down on the little, by the side of the perforated edge, you cannot fit your largest frame on that book. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is, if you're a little bit more, you know, and maybe not the new crafters, but if you're a bit more experienced, and I know there's lots of you that are going to have this in your set, because you probably, if you got them right at the beginning of the launches, you're going to have these sets. I know they're quite hard to come by, the Twirling frame set, but you can turn those into flips and flaps. Do you see? Let me go. Right, let me just quickly, I want to show you, because it's quite a nice idea. Let me just quickly go and get my twirly swirly frames. Right, these are the twirly swirly frames that I'm talking about. It's these ones. Twirly, swirly frames, swirly layering frames. I say twirly, swirly frames, but it was this set. So I know they've not got the extensions on them like, you know, they do in the memory book. So you're making your flips and flaps, aren't you, with these dies, with the extension dies. But you could make these into flips and flaps, and you can use them throughout the whole book. So all you're doing is cutting down. Okay, you'd have to back it. You'd have to back it because you'd have to put a frame. But all you would do is, this is just such a good idea. Let me just move this all out the way. But all you would do is you're just making a lip yourself. So you're just getting a square piece of card. We'll score down it anyways. Just score sort of roughly in the middle, and then you can make your own flips and flaps for the twirly swirly frames. And then I know you all love working with magnets. I mean, you don't need the lips so big. You don't need them so big, but you understand what I'm saying. If you keep that cut out, let's just show you. You know, I just want to show you that you could make your flaps. Do you see what I mean? So if you've got a nice flat frame, you can make your flaps so that your flaps come out within your memory book, and you can put your magnets on them. So you've got flips and flaps. So it was just an idea as I did it, and I made this mistake. Well, it's obviously not a mistake, because I'm wondering if actually there are two ways to make your books. Possibly that was the idea. Jodie would be able to tell you, you know, Jodie would be the one to ask. I don't know, but I'm wondering if maybe that was the idea, and that there's two ways to make your memory books, and that if you want to extend it by 5 mils, you can get these frames in there, and then you can make flips and flaps with them. You know, you can have one going into the other the same ways as you do with these dies. Well, certainly with Jodie's memory book 1, where the flips all go like either side, one that side, one that side, with memory book 1. Well, they're the same as well, where you have one going. You could do that with these. It's totally possible, by just making the little flaps either side, do you see, to go in. But I just wanted to come back and mention that, because, you know, listen, it is different strokes for different folks, right? Now, obviously I had made this happy mistake yesterday. So I had cut the pages down to the perforated line to make that thinner book, but then accidentally left 5 mils on the outer edge. Now that gives your book, you know, the inside pages are 5 mil less. You might like that. Some people might prefer the fact that you've got a bigger outer page than you have on the inner book. But if you wanted it flush to the edge, all you'd have to do is, you know, that they can be totally flush, is instead of cutting down on by the side of the perforated line, you just cut down. There you go. That's where we cut for Jodie's tutorial, the one that's in the tutorial. Instead of that, just cut down on that outer edge, giving yourself 5 mils, so that when you put those into the book, you can extend, you can even use this frame inside the, you know, in the inner pages to make your flaps. Maybe I'll do one. I'm running out of card, so I'm going to have to take a trip down to the shop to go and pick up some more black card. But I think might be a nice tutorial. I mean, if you want me to, I will do that to show you how to do it. I have no idea if anybody else has done this. It's more than likely probable that somebody has done this already. I don't know. Like, you know, I've been out of crafting for 3 years. I was pretty much out of crafting, and you know, I've probably missed quite a bit. So I don't know if anybody has, but it just occurred to me. And these are lovely large frames, aren't they? It's a really decent size frame for a really big picture for your memory books, because I know lots of you like to have bigger pictures, you know, like to have room for much bigger pictures, and this as a frame is going to give you a really lovely size picture, because you know you've got all the sets in there, so you can layer those out, can't you? You can cut a plain one out of the 2 layering lines, then cut like this one, a decorative, and put it on top, so that hides all that side. And then you can put your double-sided tape just around here, here and here, and then have your photo sliding in from the top. So I had to come back, and I don't know if I explained it yesterday because it was a mistake, but I don't know if it was. I'm wondering now if there are 2 ways to put that memory book together. I mean, listen, we all find different ways of putting things together anyway, don't we? As crafters, we change things, but I think possibly there are 2 ways to do it. So giving yourself an extra 5 mils. Now, one more thing before I go, because I'm going to get back to doing what I'm doing and clearly having a bit of a tidy up because I'm in such a mess. But I also thought to myself, and I don't know if anybody has done this either, has anybody tried to extend it longer and make it into a long album, like from here? Has anybody tried to extend it? 'Cause I looked at it yesterday and thought, I know you get the book where you've got the 2 sides, so the 2 sides go into each other, don't they? They've done that one with the extensions of this book. I've got the gate sort of fold books, which come out longer with the gatefold. And I just wondered if anybody had ever tried to extend this book to make it sort of like a longer length as a front. I did have a look and I thought, well, you're going to have the perforated edge and you're going to have this line. But then I thought to myself, well, no, because what you could do, and I wouldn't advise anyone doing it, but you can take that off your die cutting machine, take it out of the plates so that you cut it down to that line, and then you're not going to get this you're not going to get this indentation, and then you could probably make it even longer, like a long hardcover, so that it flips up. But I don't know, maybe I'll have a look at doing that. But I just wanted to let you know, come back and just make myself a little bit clearer than I was yesterday, because you can still, where I was saying, oh, you're not going to have, you've got 5 mils. No, that's not true. You can just cut the inside pages down on that edge as well, and then that extends the book, you know, rather than that side on this line, and then that extends your whole book to 5 mils, and it does look a bit bigger, I've got to say, if you compare it to the other one. Even that 5 mils, I know it hasn't got a cover on it, maybe we'll compare it when I put the cover on, but even though you've just got that 5 mils, you can see it does make the book look longer, doesn't it? It just, you can see 5 mils makes a difference. But the main thing is you can use this set, where have I just put it? Yes, you can use that, and doesn't it look beautiful? And I am now thinking that maybe that was the purpose, and that there are 2 ways to do that, because this set, I'm sure it did. Maybe in the comments you'll let me know if it did come with this, but I'm pretty sure it did. I'm sure, but I was wondering, because I cut it out when I was doing this book, before I made this book, and I thought, why doesn't that fit? I couldn't understand. I thought, I'm sure this came with this set, and I thought it doesn't fit on the book. I thought, that's strange. I don't know why that's happening, but then there we go. Yesterday I made this, well, possibly not a mistake, extended it 5 mils at the side, and boom, your page fits. So maybe I'll do, I really would like to do, it'd take a lot more work, obviously, because with, you know, with these dies, you've got this edge which gives you the tab, and you don't have to make the tabs yourself. But so it would take it takes a little bit longer to do a book like that, and it's not, the only thing with doing things like that, you do have to use a thinner edge, because otherwise, I have done things like that before in the past, because otherwise it kind of sits up. But I'm just thinking of magnets, and especially with these big ones, I'd have to have a look. I'd have to cut it down and see, because do you see on this one it doesn't fit? Where are we? When you cut it down the other way along the perforated edge, let's move this out of the way so you can just see, just so that you can see that, you see when you're cutting down on the perforated edge, it doesn't fit, right? It completely, sorry, I know you can hear my son shouting, he's talking to his friends, but do you see, when you cut down on the perforated edge, it just doesn't fit. But the 5 mils does make it fit. So anyways, I've said it a million times now, so you've got the picture. But just in case you were like me and you did the book and you thought, and and you were one of the, you're a Tonic fan like myself, and you've been there right from the get-go, and you have got this set, and possibly it was with it, and you were like me and you were like, why does that not fit? Well, the second one does down. I couldn't understand it. Now we know how to make it fit the book. And you're not going to see, when you put your pages in, when you're using the bigger frame, you're not going to, that little edge at the side here, you're not going to, it's not really, honestly, really, it doesn't, it's not going to make any difference, in my opinion, to the look of the book. Yeah, you can see the little notches, right? All right, you can see the little notches at the front, but when you are, where are we? You wouldn't be able to see them. Do you remember I cut this down yesterday? When we were doing the actual spine of the book, I chopped it triangularly, didn't I? I chopped it into a triangle. When you're extending the book, don't do that. It's fine to do what I did yesterday if you're using the flat edge, the perforated side of the edge. Yes, you can cut down the sides like I did, but when you extend it, keep it like Jodie does. When Jodie makes the book in her tutorial that I've linked in here, she leaves that extension on there. It will probably, more than likely, cover up those notches, and you won't be able to see them because you've got that underneath. Do you understand? So the notches here, you're not going to be able to see. Yes, more than likely you're going to be able to see them throughout the inside of the book, but no, maybe not, because once you've got your frame on, that should cover it up. Let's just double check. No, you will. So you will see the notches. I've got to make this, haven't I? I've got to make this and construct this from the beginning to the end, haven't I, for you to see. I'm going to. Let me get Halloween out of the way, and then I will do this, because this is just, it just gives you a real big amount of room. I mean, what size? I'm going to stop waffling now. I'm such a waffler. I could talk for Britain. 15.4 centimetres by 19.4 centimetres. 19.4 centimetres is a really big picture you can get in there, in that frame. That's a massive picture you can get into there. So you know what, I will come back and I will extend this tutorial definitely, because I know there's lots of different tutorials of how to put books together, and Jodie is always your first point of call, always. But sometimes you need to have the comparison, don't you? Because you could do exactly what I've done, you know, and then you'll be thinking, why is my book like that? Why is it not like this? And why does this not fit? And so maybe I'll do an extension and I'll come back and do put this book together and at least show you a page. I want to at least show you a page inside it of how you can use these for flip-flap frames. Even if you don't want to use them for flip-flap frames and you just want an album with 6 pages, which is giving you, what, 12, isn't it? 6 pages is giving you 12 of these. You know, if you wanted to, if you had big pictures, big photos that you printed off, 12 of them, that would look fantastic as a standalone book on its own. But if you wanted to do flip-flap, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 flips. 4 flips and flaps. Do you see what I mean? So I'll tell you what, I'll come back and do it. But I just wanted to come back and just tell you, I'm very excited about my happy mistake yesterday, because it really did explain a lot to me. So double check, you know, maybe check. Jodie's your girl. Jodie is your girl, because she would know. But I think there are 2 ways to make your memory book. You know, originally, I think that was the purpose. There are 2 separate ways you can make it. You can make it into that small, thin book. You know, well, it's not small, it's the same size, but just without the 5mm. Or you can 5mm it and use the layering frames. So maybe that was the purpose. Right, I'm going to go and I will come back and I will do some more. This is what I'm going to start doing, maybe doing some more construction of memory books, because I think that's where, you know, a lot of people's heart and passion is at the moment, is in memory book making and folders. But I'd like to just do more with our dies. I want to see, I haven't, you know, 3 years I've been out of it. I've only just come back, so I'm easing myself into it slowly. But I want to just do some more. I mean, I'm sure somebody's done a book where it's gone that way. More than likely, you just switch it around, don't you? And you have your album coming up that way instead, so your photos. But that's really just turning it around, isn't it? But I just wondered, I'll have a look at the other, the extensions of Memory Book 2 and the little flips. I'm thinking they are half the size of this. I haven't used them. How shameful is that? And I bought them on launch day. I've got so many dies I haven't used, and next year I'm making it a point to use all of these dies that I haven't used, you know, because I said it yesterday, it's a crime to have all these dies and not use them. But I think if I remember, it's like that, isn't it? So it goes into, one goes into this, doesn't it? I'll have a look anyway, because I'll go and have a look at Jodie's tutorials. She did a fantastic one, actually. The last time I watched Create and Craft and they had those books she made, oh, it was beautiful. She made the half book with, it was like a green, I think it was like a green and a silver. It was such a beautiful book. I don't know if anybody knows if you can get hold of the Tonic tutorials that she did on Create and Craft. I noticed some people seem to record them and post them, but if anybody can show me that one where she made that half book, I'd love to see that, because it was beautiful. But let me go away and have a little think, and let me see if we can extend it that way. Do you see what I mean? So that the book, your spine finishes here rather than here, but as a whole length. We might have to, I don't know. Let me go away and have a think about that. Right, I'm going to go, and I've got a few more Halloween makes. I've got a few more Halloween makes to do, and then I will put the Halloween thing to bed. But I really have to say, I really enjoyed doing the Halloween, and easing myself back into crafting slowly. Yeah, I'm enjoying it again. I really am enjoying it again. Right, I'm going to go. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again. I'm not sure what tutorial I'm going to come back with next time, but I will see you again. And I'm going to come back and start doing much more of these, putting memory books together and construction, and seeing what else we can make of this die set, seeing where it, pushing our limits. That's the word I'm looking for. Right, thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in my next tutorial. Bye.